If you're thinking about moving to Hoover, or you've heard people talk about Bradbury at Blackridge, but you've never actually been out here, you're about to see why this place has become one of the most talked about neighborhoods in all of the Birmingham suburbs. I'm walking you through everything today. The amenities, the new phases like Bradbury Crest, what it's actually like living here with young kids, all of it. And if you stick around until the end, I'm gonna give you a full inside look at the nicest floor plan, in my opinion, that Signature Homes builds out here. And that is the Patterson 2F. It's my favorite. It's basically $1 million family house done exactly right. It's immaculate. And once you see it, you'll understand why it's in such high demand. So before we get going, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and let's dive into Bradbury at Blackridge. Bradbury at Blackridge sits on the south side of Hoover. It's tucked between the main Blackridge community near Morgan Road and South Shades Crest. Blackridge as a whole was planned as a big luxury gated development with around 1,100 homes across its phases. Right now, if you're coming to Bradbury, there's only one way in and one way out. You come through the actual Blackridge gate, and it's a bit of a hike to the back. That's part of why it feels so private back here. There is a planned rear entrance that will come out towards Helena Road. The expectation is that that opens up around the end of 2026, which will give you a much quicker option if you're cutting towards Hoover or Helena or I-459 or back over towards I-65. Of course, timelines can always shift, so if that entrance is critical for you, then verify it with the city or the developer first. For now though, just know this: you're buying a tucked away gated resort style setup, not a cut through neighborhood off a busy highway. Let's talk money, because that's usually the first real question that I get. Bradbury at Blackridge launched with pricing in the low 500s when it was first announced, but that was early phase, pre-inflation, everybody wants to live here. So as of right now, most of the new construction and resales in Bradbury and Bradbury Crest are trading in that roughly mid 600s up to the 800s and even 900s range, with some larger or highly upgraded homes going for even more. Several of the data pulls that I did put the average price in Bradbury in the upper to mid 700s, with the average square footage in the mid 3,000s. Now, when you step into the big boys, like the Grand Patterson 2 series, including the 2F, like we'll walk through later, the base prices for that alone are in the mid 700s. And right now, before you start layering in design options and structural upgrades and lot premiums, that's how you end up with a heavily upgraded Patterson, realistically living in that near $1 million bracket, depending on how aggressive you get with finishes and the specific lot. Now, in the greater Blackridge area, there are already homes valued with over $1 million, especially near the 100-acre lake. So if you're watching this from out of state, Bradbury and Bradbury Crest are not entry-level Hoover. This is more like move up. We're serious about schools and amenities price point. Okay, let's talk what it's like living here with children. See the car seat? Well, I have two more just like them, and no, they won't all fit in here. We have identical twin boys that are 1.5 years. We have my heart, my girl, Charlotte, who is 3. So everywhere I go, I'm looking at it through the lens of what is it like being here with children. So if you've got young kids or you're planning on it, this is where Bradbury makes the most sense to me. So yes, you have sidewalks, you have kids on bikes, you have people walking dogs, you actually see your neighbors. So this is not like a ghost subdivision where the garages go down and you never see anybody until Halloween. There are walking trails threaded throughout the neighborhood, and you'll see strollers and toddlers with scooters and teenagers heading to the pool on their own. And Blackridge as a whole was built around outdoor living. So you've got access to the 100-acre private lake with a resort pool and the clubhouse and the fire pits and the walking trails and the water access. And Bradbury itself, Signature built out its own resort style amenity package at the Bradbury Village Club, where you get a resort style zero entry pool, a fitness wing, clubhouse, gathering spaces. You have cabanas, picnic tables, cornhole area, and all that in a setting really feels more like a modern resort than a typical style neighborhood pool. So if your life as a whole looks like work, kid sports, birthday parties, pool time, groceries, this neighborhood makes that rhythm pretty easy. All right, schools. If you're a parent, this is usually the deal maker or breaker for you. I know it is for me. Bradbury at Blackridge is served by the Hoover City School System, and more specifically, it's currently zoned for South Shades Crest Elementary, Brock's Gap Intermediate, Robert Bumpus Middle, and Hoover High School. So let's go into those. Let's dive in and break them down quickly. South Shades Crest Elementary is a K through 2 campus with about 500 students. Hoover City's own information pegs enrollment at approximately 500 students. Other data sources that I found say it's right at 521 with a student to teacher ratio of close to 12:1. On greatschools.com, South Shades Crest Elementary carries a 10 out of 10 rating, and the Alabama State report card gives it a 99 out of 100. Which is an A grade. Over to Brock's Gap Intermediate, it picks up grades 3 through 5, and you're looking at around 490 to 500 students with a 15:1 student to teacher ratio. Very strong proficiency numbers, around 72% math and 77 in reading. It also carries a 10 out of 10 on Great Schools and a 98 on the state report card. The middle school is Robert F. Bumpus. This is a bigger campus with 1,164 students in grades 6 through 8. This is a big school. The student-teacher ratio is still about 16:1, so Bumpus has strong test scores with more than half the students proficient in math and over 3/4 proficient in reading, and it carries a 10 out of 10 rating on greatschools.com and a 5-star rating on School Digger as one of the top middle schools in the state. Then you finish at Hoover High School. So maybe back in the day, if you're a Generation X or a millennial with children now, you might remember this school from the popular MTV show 2-A-Days back in the day, early 2000s. This is a big one. Hoover is the flagship high school for the city and one of the largest schools in Alabama with about 2,800 students and a 16:1 student to teacher ratio. So Hoover ranks better than about 94% of other high schools in Alabama on schooldigger.com with an average standard score of around 93. The district state report card in recent reporting was an A, with almost every school scoring above 90. And Hoover High itself at an 89. So if you are the family who's thinking, we want a neighborhood that feels nice, but we're really buying into a school system, Bradbury checks that box in a very real way. So in a nutshell, these are not experiment schools. These are proven high-scoring school campuses that people move here on purpose to attend. This neighborhood's all about location, location, location. From Bradbury, you're right by Stadium Trace Village and the Hoover Met Complex, Knox Square and Trace Crossings, and the I-459 exit is right by your house. So you're maybe like a 10 to 15 minute drive to 459 in normal traffic. From there, maybe 20 minutes to downtown Birmingham, maybe 30 minutes to UAB, 35 minutes to the airport, depending on traffic. So this is very much still suburbs, but also plugged in at the same time. Now, one of the biggest perks of Bradbury is that you're about 5 or 10 minutes away from two of Hoover's best new developments. So the first is Stadium Trace, and this whole development is right off of 459, right by Highway 150, over by the Hoover Met, and it's packed with spots like Taco Mama, Edgar's Bakery, Melt, Five Guys, Super Chick, Big Whiskeys, and a few more, but it's set up as like an open container entertainment district, so it feels more like a lifestyle center than a boring strip mall. So then you have here at Knox Square by the Met and by Trace Crossings. So some of the establishments here are Ashley Mack's, one of my favorites, Farm Bowl and Juice Company, Sticks and Stones Cocktail Bar, Hoover Steaks and Wine, Osteo Strong, and there's a nice grocery and deli here as well. So day-to-day life, here's what your week could look like. You could have breakfast at Biscuit Belly. You could have coffee at O'Henry's or Santos over by the Met. Then you could pop over to your kids' tournament at the Hoover Met or Finley Center. Yeah, it was basically in your backyard. And you could have a date night at Sticks and Stones or the Urban Cookhouse right by Stadium Trace. So in day-to-day life, you're not driving 25 minutes across town every time you want decent food. It's all 5 or 10 minutes away here in your backyard. Let's take a closer look at some of Bradbury's own amenities. So you've got a resort style pool with cabanas and loungers, and there's a splash zone for little ones and plenty of room for older kids who pretty much live here all summer long. And then right next to the pool, you have a playground and a lawn space. If you're a parent of multiple kids like me, this one is gold. One can be playing on the slide while the other's in the water, and you're not stuck driving back and forth to separate places. And then right across the way, the mini amphitheater and the big open lawn space give the community a space for movie nights, for food trucks, just letting kids run around while adults hang out, have a beer on the patio. This is the kind of setup where you get home from work, you throw on your shorts, and your kids are like, okay, are we going to the pool or the playground? And you're not driving anywhere. You just hop in the golf cart or walk, and you're there. And then inside, the fitness center is big enough and well equipped enough that you can pretty much ditch an outside gym membership if you want to. It's bright and clean and right in the neighborhood, which means you can actually use it. Now let's talk about Bradbury Crest and what is coming next. So Bradbury Crest is a newer section of Bradbury that showcases Signature's higher end Signature Series homes. These are the ones with the taller ceilings, the big open living spaces, more dramatic staircases, and more of that designer feel throughout. New models in Bradbury and the Crest have been featured in the local Parade of Homes events and are being marketed as setting a new bar for luxury in Hoover. And beyond that, there is additional dirt already being moved for another phase around behind Bradbury Crest. So you're not walking into a finished out aging subdivision. You're getting in while the area is still actively developing, which usually means more floor plan options over time, more neighbors with the kids the same age, and typically some price appreciation as the community matures. Okay, you're about to see why this specific floor plan is my favorite in all of Bradbury. It's the AMG model, it's fully loaded, it's got all the bells and whistles, if you will. It's beautiful. So let's talk about the Patterson 2F, because I know a lot of you clicked on this video for that specific floor plan tour. So we're about to go inside, we're about to check it out, so follow me. You walk into a true foyer that opens up into a wide kitchen and a living area. The island is huge, and the way the kitchen, the dining room, the living are all connected makes it hosting very easy. The primary suite is on the main level, of course, which is a big deal for buyers thinking long term. You do get separation from the kids' bedrooms, and you're not walking upstairs every night at 11 o'clock. Upstairs, you have multiple secondary bedrooms and a loft or a bonus area. That loft becomes either the kids' media room or a homework space or a guest zone if you have family visiting often. With the Patterson 2F model, once you add in the design center upgrades and the extended outdoor living, or maybe a finished basement where it's offered, if you're the family that needs space for kids, or friends, or holidays, or maybe even a home office that does not feel like a closet, this plan gives you that without feeling like a cold, oversized box. That completes our tour of the Patterson floor plan. What are your thoughts on this model? Give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments. Okay, pros and cons. Who is Bradbury at Blackridge really for? If you appreciate newer construction, if you want Hoover City Schools, specifically that South Shades Crest, Brock's Gap, Bumpus, that Hoover High School track that people are talking about these days. Also, if you like the idea of a gated resort style neighborhood that still feels family friendly and not stiff. If you're good with an HOA because you want those amenities and the clubhouse and the pool and the trails and the lake access and all that. Also, if you want to be close to Stadium Trace or Knox Square and the Hoover Met, that whole scene with the tournaments and the sports and events, but also without being right on top of the traffic. The trade-off right now is that the drive is still a little bit longer. And until that rear entrance on Helena Road opens up, you are committed to that single gate access. So if you want to be 2 minutes from 65 and downtown, this is not that. But if you hear quiet, gated, big amenities, strong schools, close to great food options and shopping, if that sounds like your lifestyle, then Bradbury at Blackridge should be on your short list. If this walkthrough helped you get a feel for Bradbury at Blackridge, hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and drop any questions you have in the comments. And if you're seriously thinking about moving to Bradbury, Bradbury Crest, or another Hoover neighborhood, and you want to have someone locally who actually walks these streets and negotiates these contracts, reach out, I can help. I help families relocate and move up to the Birmingham area all the time. And if you're watching from out of state and just starting to research, I can connect you with more neighborhood-specific videos, school info, and off-market opportunities as they pop up. So thanks for hanging out with me in Bradbury.